See that? I'm definitely not looking for bikini pictures at all. Okay, so we're currently in Chicago. We're in literally one of the, this is just a lobby. This is a tiny, no, it's a freaking huge lobby. But yeah, we're at a US money show. I'm here talking about cryptos, etc. I guess one of the things I wanted to basically chat about is the stock market tokenization. I said this a year ago that we'd be seeing some pretty big players come into the market pretty soon, and it's already happening. Banks are getting in, institutional money in general is getting in. One of the things I said, in order for cryptos to really prosper, there needs to be a custodial service to enter the space. And what that basically means is there needs to be someone that can manage all of the risk and store the cryptos, a bit like a bank. Because if there's a big hedge fund or a big fund of some sort that wants to buy billions of dollars worth of cryptos, they're not going to dick about with holding, storing the cryptos in their own wallets and private keys, etc. They want to be able to store it somewhere and perhaps be insured, etc. Now Coinbase, they've just done the first custodial services, and yeah, there's all sorts of things coming online with Bitcoin ETFs, etc. So it's going to be huge. I've always said that crypto's main superpower is disintermediation. As in, it will simply displace and get rid of any middleman or anything that has a form of control, power, or trust. And when you look at the stock market itself is one big middleman, especially if you look at the stock market exchanges. Some people think that stock market exchanges are like government entities, but they're not. They're private individual companies. So the New York Stock Exchange is a private entity. It's owned by a company. The London Metals Exchange is owned by China. Like all of these exchanges are private. And so it's acting as a, yes, it's creating an exchange and creating the market, but it's a middleman. It's taking a slice of everything. And when you go back to the real basics, if you look at the big picture of the stock market and ask yourself, why does the stock market exist? You really come down to two things. The stock market exists, one, mainly because companies want to raise money. So whether it's because the founders want to do a silent exit and walk away with a nice liquidity event, or to basically raise capital for the company to then grow. And it's also so there is a vehicle where people can invest and get some form of ROI. So they're really the only two reasons of a stock market. So then you think, okay, so how do you list your company onto the stock market? Well, that's where it becomes a frickin' chore. I wanted to go upstairs there, but then I thought, because Matty's walking backwards at the moment, and that would have been amazing. Okay, let's go on the escalator. This is actually quite funny, watching him walk backwards. This is really funny. What's the stock market? The stock market is basically a middleman. Okay, so the next question you have to ask yourself is why, like, how do you list your company, your own private company, onto the stock market? And I mean, there's all sorts of markets, as in stock markets or around the world. I mean, people have heard of the London stock market, the New York Stock Exchange, blah, blah, blah. But there's actually quite a few. I mean, in Europe, there's all sorts of markets. But basically, long story short, it costs roughly $3 million and 3 years to do an IPO, to list your own company onto the stock market. And because it's so time and money intensive, it basically means only the big boys, or the big companies, that actually end up listing. I mean, if you had, say, 500k to maybe £1 million profit per year, you could potentially list onto a really small market like the AIM market. But even then, the AIM market has still got some pretty big companies. I say big in comparison to me. They're tiny in comparison to what's on, say, the FTSE 250 or FTSE 100. But anyway, it takes a long time and a lot of money to list a company onto the stock market. Honestly, Matty, how hard is your job? Like, just point and shoot. I'll do a good B-roll here for you.
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
As long as humans are around, or as long as businesses are around, which are going to, I mean, businesses are going to be around for hundreds of years, hell, maybe as long as humans exist. They're always going to want to raise money to grow. And here's the whole reason. This is really hard. Here's the conclusion I keep coming back to. The whole reason for this video is because I think cryptos are going to eat the whole freaking stock market. Literally. It's going to have it for breakfast. It's just like one day it will simply breathe and inhale the currency markets as all sovereign currencies become cryptified. I call it the sovereign cryptification event. But I think also the stock market is going to be tokenized. I think we're going to move away. I think businesses are just going to tokenize. Holy shit, look how big that room is. Shall we go for a wander? This building is huge. It's 5 million square foot. Not just this room, this is part of it, but wow. I've been in loads of aircraft hangars, but this is freaking insane. Companies are going to tokenize themselves, which means any company, like hell, if you're even a tiny company and you have hell 6 figures turnover or revenue, you're going to be able to tokenize yourself because it's going to cost probably less than 5 grand to tokenize your business. So what this means is if you have a company, let's call it a company X. No, hell, call it Dave's Chippy. Okay, you have a company, it's called Dave's Chippy down the road. What you could do is tokenize your shop and basically create an amount of tokens, and you can then launch your own tokens, Dave's Chippy coin, onto a local tokenized asset market. This is something which I think I'm quite keen on launching myself, calling it the TAM, the tokenized asset market. And so what you'll end up having is loads of tiny mini markets across the whole of the country, and then maybe the whole of the world eventually. Let's take Norwich, the centre of the universe. You can have the Norwich TAM, the Norwich tokenized asset market, and basically all the local businesses that have tokenized their businesses can be on that exchange. So even though like a business may only want to raise 5 grand or 10 grand, they can. You simply go to the local, the Norwich TAM, and then you can invest or buy Dave's Chippy coin or whatever if he wants to buy a new deep fat fryer or something like that. Cryptos are going to assimilate and just eat the whole crowdfunding world and also the stock market world. And when they see this wave of businesses tokenizing themselves and raising money, it's going to filter upstream. It really will. Okay, we better go. So I hope that helps. I'm going to go and get some food. I'm speaking later, so yeah. Look out for tokenized assets and a tokenized asset market. No one's doing it right now, so I think I may as well do it. See ya.
Matty, where are you?
Good evening.